Hello, everybody. This is Brandon from Galaxy.Market. Today is February 28th, 2026. It's about 7:34 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Been pretty much up all night monitoring the developments of the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran. And then, of course, the title for the coming week video for our community members is "And So It Begins." I have always maintained that bankers will take you to war after the money system starts to fail. And so here we are. And so let's get right to it. And obviously, for those of you watching this on X or YouTube.com, here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. None of this is intended as financial advice, but for educational content and for entertainment. And of course, thank you everybody for following me and on x.com/galaxy.market and on YouTube. Thank you for your subscriptions, commentaries. Let's keep it up. Last week I said we talked about silver bear trap ahead, and I said danger. There's a bear trap about silver as the chorus of the media pundits and so-called experts alike was calling for the $50 or lower silver, and that it has topped, and they're making parallels to the 1980s Hunt Brothers silver slam as well as the 2011 parallels. And I always maintain that the issue isn't any longer about the leverage. It is about the physical demand required by the military industrial complex, as well as the sovereign and central banks. And that is the problem, is that the silver supply demand is out of whack. It has nothing to do with paper contracts anymore, as much as COMEX and LBMA would like you to believe. And now the silver this week closed above 93. And I have posted on my x.com that if we finish about 93, then we're going to start moving above and targeting that 121.86 or 68 level, which was the previous all-time high. And that's within sight. And boy, oh boy, what do we get? We're getting Iran war posturing is a distraction situation, right? Iran war posturing is a distraction. Last week, that's what I talked about. And now what we get is wars and rumors of wars, and that there is a kinetic attack by the United States and Israel on Iran. Now, the thing that we need to understand about all of this is that China has drawn a red line about the imminent attack that was headed for Iran. And the nuclear talks have stalled, and now they are headed for wars. And of course, if you look at the headlines today, there are wars just flaring up everywhere. If you look at Mexico and the cartel wars, you got that going. And then, of course, Afghanistan and Pakistan are at it in a full-blown kinetic warfare. Of course, Russia and Ukraine war is never ending at this point. And now this. And now this is going to put the two major superpowers of the world at odds with each other, and potentially Russia at this point, because Iran is part of the BRICS system. And so we are headed for a come to Jesus moment. But here's the thing. Okay, be not deceived, because bankers will take you to war or scare you into submission as they bring in a new monetary system. And I've been consistent about the fact that all of these things that are happening, whether it's a migration issue, they want you to be distracted, focusing on that, while they're bringing in a new money system to cover up for the failed fractional reserve banking system, where they can print money out of thin air. The mathematics and physics have run its course, and that is no longer a viable mechanism. Bankers take you to war, and there is a monetary reset, and this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's look at some of the news. And of course, everybody, I've been up all night monitoring this, and this is a fluid situation. And it's going to be tit for tat escalation, I believe. And the thing to watch out for is what is China going to do in this situation, as they have drawn the red line, Iran being one of their allies, and that if it was attacked, that they have warned the United States and the NATO and all these nations. Funny how it is that NATO seems to have been at odds with the United States. And now with this war looming, any type of war, whether it's in Ukraine, whether it's in Afghanistan, whether it's in Mexico, it doesn't really matter. Bankers take you to war. But you really see the real agenda of the European Union nations, and for that matter, United States. War is profitable. War is necessary for these bankers after their failed money systems to bring in a new monetary system while you are fearful and distracted. But here's what's happening right now. About a while back, approximately 5 hours ago, we had this plume of smoke, and of course, I had to confirm that it was real because, you can't really trust anything you see on the internet today. And of course, the major news outlets have confirmed that this is what's happening. Okay, U.S. and Israel launched second wave of airstrikes, so not the first. And so we are now in a developing situation, which led to tit for tat, Iran targeting U.S. bases in the Gulf. And basically, we're talking about Abu Dhabi being attacked now, right into here. And all of these are all over the internet. Money Ape and Bricks News have actually provided good live content. And then, of course, this from Buy. After the U.S. military took action, of course, gold in China has gotten near 5560.57. Remember, the previous all-time highs on gold before they try to slam this thing down artificially, by raising margin. I mean, it's just so stupid what's happening, okay? Raising margin, glitches, my dog ate my homework type of excuses from COMEX and LBMA, okay? And 5,600 region is the previous all-time high, and so now we are climbing. And so this whole week, gold and silver was warning you what was about to happen. The VIX was warning you as it persistently stayed above 20 as the stock market continued to chop near the highs. Okay, and we're going to go over those technicals shortly, but this is what's happening right now. Okay, the real story though is the fact that Jane Street is now being exposed and being blamed. Remember, during the financial crisis of 2008 to 2009, Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers took brunt of those blame, and they failed. And now they're targeting the boogeyman, which is Jane Street, which is one of the largest market makers / hedge fund, and it is jointly working for BlackRock and JP Morgan Chase. And they are behind not only all of the crypto crashes and the current Bitcoin XRP crypto suppression, but also on silver suppression. And they're naked shorting, basically $1.6 billion worth of silver, trying to spoof the markets down lower. I mean, these are indisputable evidence. But here's the thing. They are also behind all of the the naked shorting of different stocks, including Michael Saylor, although I believe he deserves his stupidity. In 1999, he took down the .com, and I think he's doing that for AI right now. And basically, they are naked shorting that, probably GME, AMC, and all of these other meme coins and any other stocks that might be in trouble. Jane Street is behind it, and they are doing illegal things right now. And so Citadel, Jane Street, Virtu, and Anson funds, all of which have connections to BlackRock and JP Morgan Chase, are basically facing lawsuits, none other than President Trump himself, for market manipulation. Funny though, this guy, he owns the Citadel. Wasn't he at Trump's cabinet meeting for all to see a while back? Funny how that works. I thought that was interesting. I can't remember his name right now, and it's right there. The owner of Citadel. I'm having a senior moment, but there's so much to cover, so I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure that out, and I need to get this content out. And then, of course, South Korea is cracking down on naked shorting, and now in that country, and this is what should be happening in the United States, right? Shorting is fine, just don't naked short. If you want to short, use other derivatives. Don't. If you're naked shorting, you are trying to manipulate the markets, and that could include, prison sentences and criminal. They criminalize that situation, which I applaud South Korea for doing that. That should be happening in the United States. And then, of course, the biggest thing is that DOJ has opened an internal investigation into Jane Street and all the other hedge funds that might be associated with spoofing the markets and manipulating. They're being accused of crypto and equities market manipulation. Duh. That's been going on forever. But you know what? The jig is up. They need a boogeyman. Jane Street is it. And now with the fear of wars and all these war stories and the Mexican cartel things and all Afghanistan and versus Pakistan. Oh my gosh! All these stands are probably gonna rise up in a ball of flames right now, and they want you distracted as they start bringing in a new monetary system. That's what this is all about, folks. Okay, new money system backed by stable coins and gold and silver. Tokenization of assets. Here we go. The mark of the beast. Okay, so last week, as silver was breaking out above 91, they had another glitch, right? Another glitch on Wednesday and Thursday. Oh, geez. Okay, and all the futures market, including natural gas, was shut down. But this is a sign of desperation. They're just kicking the can down the road. They somehow manipulated 60% of the contracts that were due, probably paid them off to move out to March or May contracts. So as of February 27, 2026, there is continued drainage at COMEX vaults. There is less than 76 million ounces left at the vaults, and I do believe that there are still standing 8 to 12 million for the February expiration of gold and silver. Well, silver, not gold yet. Silver that needs to be delivered. Silver is problematic right now because it is not about leverage. It's not about speculations. It is about the scarcity and the dwindling supply of silver as the AI boom continues to explode, as we need further power sources for solar energies, medicine. If we're going to go into World War III, silver goes into all of those bombs and missiles and avionics that are necessary to conduct this war. Now you know why China has declared export ban on silver and why United States is actively seeking out countries that have silver. That includes Greenland. I believe something came up with Greenland, right? That United States had some control over that. Venezuela. It wasn't about taking out Maduro, I can guarantee you that. And this chaos that's ensuing in Mexico with a cartel, not only exposing the fact that cartels are running that country. Have you ever wondered why President of Mexico's last name is Scheinbaum? That is a Jewish last name. Shouldn't it be something more ethnically appropriate? Just a food for thought. I'm probably going to get flagged for saying this on YouTube, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. March contract, 360 to 1 paper delivery requirement. What could go wrong here? For every 1 ounce is available in the COMEX vaults, there's 360 papers wanting that 1 ounce of gold. It's the musical chair, and the music is ending right now. Silver was a warning of something big, and that bigness is the monetary reset. And now they're going to try to cover it up with war and fears of war and threats of war. In the Bible, it says, "Do not be deceived." Okay, in those times, it's not yet the second coming of Jesus. Okay, there will be wars and rumors of wars, but the time is not yet. Okay. So do not be deceived. Okay. Here's the bottom line. Banksters have failed. Okay. War as a backdrop of a new money system that they are trying to implement, which is a precursor to the mark of the beast coin and one world money system. And I think Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was the Trojan horse, but now we are knee deep in it. And the best coin there, I always say, is XRP. XRP you can consider to be Bitcoin with utility. Okay, but do not be distracted. Okay, folks. All right. This is the backdrop. They don't want you in gold, silver, and they certainly don't want you in cryptos, and they want to scare you out of your positions. And for me, my opinion only, and for our community, we are going to accumulate and continue to accumulate gold and silver, as well as XRP. I think Bitcoin has a lot more to fall. Obviously, I'd be interested in accumulating below 45,000. I do believe if things get really bad, though, I think Bitcoin can fall all the way down to below 18.5K. Okay, so let's review some charts, shall we? Okay, so we're going to go with the McClellan Summation Index, because McClellan Summation Index is basically bullish as all hell get out. But I always thought that if we basically do not get stopped here, we're going to go right up into this trend line, and we are near. If you look, we are in majorly overly aggressive relative strength at this point, and usually that leads to a market decline. These are contrarian, right? There is no divergence right now. Okay, and at the peak of that is when black swans happen. This McClellan Summation Index is tilted to the max. However, the MACD is beginning to show signs of crossing over, and the histogram is lower. So, can this Iran attack? Okay, the crypto's already down on the average about since the news broke, about 8.7%. And remember, cryptos and NASDAQ follow the same trajectory. So if this continues to develop and no solutions are found, and if this is not a one-off event and that they continue to escalate, if China gets involved, I expect at least that amount of a market decline when the market opens on Sunday, unless they mysteriously find a solution or Iran's ruling regime is eradicated. And I think that's the backdrop of what's happening here. However, there's been warnings on the S&P 500 SPY. Okay, let's look at that. We've been having consistent and persistent negative divergences on the RSI. We're chopping near the top, and I've said before that it just seems like we're just chopping right along here as we basically come down into this cluster of stalling. This is what I call stalling, and we have a negative trend line that's forming, followed by this long-term trend line that's coming in. It's kind of making that triangle, and I do believe we're going to start breaking below here. And if this attack on Iran starts to develop, I believe, okay, this is the kind of that red line that we're looking at. And notice where we are, 543. If you don't think in one day that SPY can drop below this 580 level, I got news for you. Okay, this is highly toxic situation. We are chopping near the top. The insiders have sold. Buffett has sold. All the insiders in stocks, including the NVIDIA CEOs that have made billions off of their stock appreciation, are selling. Okay, Jeff Bezos is selling. Elon Musk is selling. Everyone's selling. If it gets really bad to a point where China enters the war, or they do something about like attacking Taiwan or something, we're going to start hitting these levels in next few days. Okay, when the market opens, we have persistent signs of distribution that was happening. Look at all these sell volume that was greater than these buy volumes, right? Versus these buy volumes are mediocre. We have an increasing sell volume that's been happening as we chop here, and as a lot of retail are saying is that, well, Trump said that Dow and S&P 500 is going to go higher. It may later, not before a corrective movement. Okay, we have MACD that's falling down. We have MACD histogram that is basically diverging. We got CCI that's diverging. We got stochastics coming off from the overbought area, and now we're rolling over. PPOADX, man, this is about as great as it gets. This is the most bearish formation right here that we can find right into that area. Okay, so that's what we have for SPY. Okay, and then of course we have silver. Okay, let's go into silver. Silver has, we just reset that count, found support at the 20 SMA right here. Now we're on phase one again. And boy, I told you that this is going to be making a kind of like a cup like formation. And if this war issue escalates, gold and silver is safe haven asset. We're going to be busting through this 122.50 level and then move higher. Okay, we have positive divergences forming right now, and then we have on the MACD, we have this little bullish hook forming down into this area. Okay, so what do we do? What are we looking at? I mean, we have positive divergence on the CCI. We have the positive crossover here on the stochastic, which is a short-term trend change indicator. Now we have this type of a bullish upward cup formation. Silver's going higher, folks. Okay, I don't give a crap what all these people are saying that, oh, they're selling Bitcoin and gold. No, they're selling silver and gold to get into Bitcoin. Bullshit. Okay, Bitcoin's going much lower. I think I'm bullish long term, but it's got a lot more to fall. XRP and all the cryptos that are going to fall as a result of this news is a scare tactic. You accumulate on the way down, accumulate and buy it in tranches. Not financial advice for those of you watching on YouTube and X.com, but that's my opinion. Here's gold. Gold looks a lot more bullish than silver, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like nothing really happened. And we had a little pullback here, found support right at the phase 4, but the phase 4 line has been staying intact. In fact, I'm beginning to think that it's ready to continue on here. Maybe this is a phase 1 count and then we move higher again. But everything is bullish. Okay, there's nothing bearish about gold, and gold has been warning you. I mean, everything is moving higher. We have the stochastics that are curling higher. We got basically not only that, but when you see something like this right here, that is a crush indicator. That is the crush on a bullish side. That's what you look for. You want to find out more about that, then you got to join my community, or I have some courses talking about that. Just a little shameless plug, folks, for those of you watching on X.com and YouTube. Now, I wanted to share with you some of the watch list, and this is something that I work on, and nothing's changed. I just want to show it to you very briefly that we have First Solar here, Tesla, Ulta, we got IBM, Snow. All of these have been very bearish. On the bullish side, we've got gold, silver, XRP, VIX, RNG has been a pretty decent winner, and all of the miners, okay? And when there's a price suppression that was going on, we've been accumulating those. Okay, but here's going back to First Solar, negative divergence. I know this is a big, ugly candle, but we got so much more room to go down. I mean, we can go all the way down to this area, especially if the war continues. And because Trump wants to drill, baby, drill, all of these alternative energy companies, especially First Solar, with the scarcity in silver, is going to continue to get slammed down. And in fact, it's overbought. And I've been saying that First Solar, we've been shorting First Solar opportunistically throughout. Okay, MACD's looks like dog shit at this point, and this is something that we need to take a look at. CCI has this is a crash indicator. When you just drop off the face of this earth in the last couple of months, this is what happens. Okay, we had a little blip on the stochastic, that was a dead cat bounce, but more importantly, we have negative formation on the PPO ADX crush, one of my very, very proprietary indicators that we use. Okay, Ulta's reporting earnings in a few weeks, and I think we're stalling out in this area. RSI is completely negative, but we've been finding support every time down into these 80 MA. Once that breaks, we're going straight down into that 50-day moving average. Here's the 20. Okay, I believe we're coming all the way down to the prior breakout, especially if the market starts to crash. That's a lot of meat left on the bones. MACD is about to form a death cross, and we have a negative histogram formation. Let's see. Let's look at CCI. Okay, negatively divergent. Still in that kind of that overbought territory coming into this area. This is where all the fun begins. It hasn't broken yet, but it will. Okay, we've got the stochastics rolling over. I mean, we got this area. We go down. It's game over. Okay, it's game over, man. Game over. I think that's from Aliens. I don't know. I'm dating myself, but if you saw that movie, one of my favorite movies of all time, we're forming this negative crush formation. This is early, so you got to buy more time. If you're shorting with options, this is what we do. Okay, and then we have a break-in trend line right here. I mean, guys, this thing is awesome. And then, of course, we've been shorting Tesla in our group. And Tesla was an easy short, partly because we topped out here. We're now stalling. Every time it hits 80 EMA, that's the green line. We still haven't broken down below the bottom end of the Bollinger Band, but these are the targets that it's going to hit, especially if this war with Iran continues, right? NVIDIA is beginning to crack. Okay, we've had negative divergence after negative divergence, and everybody hailed their earnings report last week as something great. But you know what? The 13% decline in gaming revenue is their bread and butter. Okay, this shit is about to break down. Sorry for my language. I'm super excited right now. This market is about to roll over, and we're slightly below this long-term trend line. Once that breaks, here's the 50 SMA, and then here's the 100 SMA, and here's the line in the sand right here, right in the 142.96 area. So if that level should break, and if this Iran starts sucking in China, kind of like World War I situation, right? How the nation started taking sides, right? I think this occurred in the old Sarajevo, kind of that Balkans area. History lesson, right? Archduke Ferdinand and his wife Sophie got murdered by or assassinated by the Black Hand gang, and of course that basically divided the world into the Ottoman Empire side and basic Austro-Hungary Ottoman Empire, and then you got the Allied side, British, English, and they took sides, and we know what happened in that trench warfare. If that should happen, I think that's what's going to cause it to break below here on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a bloated pig, and they have some questionable accounting practices, and I won't get into it here, but NVIDIA, AMD, SMC, take a look at how they're related. I mean, related. Okay, but MACD histogram is now increasing. We're at the top, but we're beginning to come back down on the MACD. That's a sign. It just started, okay? What do you see here, okay? This is a weekly chart. I mean, do you not see a head and shoulders here? I do, okay? It's not obvious, but it's there, okay? We have the CCI coming down. I mean, gosh, guys, what more do you want, okay? This is the clearest short indicator that you can see. A PPO-ADX is now rolling over, forming this inverse cup formation. I think this is a fantastic shorting opportunity. So let's also look into now what is happening with the markets in general. Okay, now we do have some protected puts. I mean, it's like you either have it or you don't. Okay, and buying puts on ES is pretty cheap. Okay, to buy insurances for you to be able to get 20 to 50x returns if you have it. I mean, you don't abuse it, but this is what's happening. Okay, we're locked in a trading range right from this level down to here. Okay, and so everything is a chop sideways. We've been making lower highs. This is an hourly chart, and so if this not China, but Iran and Israel conflict that sucked in USA and China gets sucked in, we're going straight down, folks. Okay, if Bitcoin and cryptos are falling on the average about 8.7% on the average, even if we did half of that in the morning on Sunday, if we gap down even 3 to 5%, that's a significant level, right? So pay particular attention to that. That warning sign was actually by gold and silver. We started going higher. All those naysayers saying that, they're selling gold and silver to go into Bitcoin. Bullshit, folks. Okay, Bitcoin's going lower. There will be a generational bottom that we can buy at that point. Okay, the only real true, in my opinion, crypto that is worth anything right now that will be used when all of these things blow up is XRP. They are ODL, okay, on-demand liquidity. They're the cross-border payment system, but it's much more than that. They are the global reserve digital currency. Okay, there, I said it. Oil's rising, folks, okay? And oil's rising because that's trying to give the dollar some strength. But, it's kind of peculiar because the dollar here's the 1 hour chart, okay? It looks like we're going to go lower, but it is a race to zero. It's worthless fiat, folks. When any country that can hyperinflate their currency as fast as they can and accumulate as much asset and land and basically territory, they win. Okay, it's a race to zero. This is what we're engaged in. Okay, so therefore, it's a little baffling for me that we continue to hit this inflection point. If we get above here and go above 100, then I guess all the monetary crisis is over, but I doubt it. Okay. Remember, I've always maintained, if you watch my channel and in my group, I said that the 10-year yield is all that Fed cares about. That's their lifeblood. They will sacrifice the stock markets right here to basically save this, but it's worthless paper. Nobody wants it. They're just issuing on debt and no one buys it, so they print more money and then they buy it back. What kind of a market is that, folks? Okay. I've always said that, this area, okay, we've been persistently holding up. Remember, these are the buy zones right into this, in between here on the VIX and the volatility. If you have VIX, okay, if this continues to develop the way it is, and yeah, I mean, they could figure out a way and Iran surrenders, or, they kill the Ayatollahs and whatever. If that happens, and then the world is back to normal, then yeah, the stock markets will rally. XRP, Bitcoin, everything will rally. But I think this is a longer term scare tactic designed to shake you out of your gold, silver, and all your other positions and enrich the banksters. Okay, I really do not like the bankers. I don't know why they get away with so much crap, but it is the way it is. They rule the world. Okay, so that's what we have on the macros. Okay, and then I think there is, yeah, and then I just wanted to show you graphically what's happening here. As you saw on my watch list, I'm very, very bearish on Citibank, Deutsche Bank, Comerica. I mean, all the regional banks are dog crap. Okay, BlackRock. Okay, one thing I want to pay attention, for you to pay attention, is this is after the earnings. Okay, and here's Nvidia. We're gonna go much, much lower. These are 1 hour charts. Alta making lower highs. Do you not see on the 1 hour chart this formation of head and shoulders? Okay. Buy more time. Okay, time solves everything. Apple has been warning you, right? Apple kind of fell off the earth on Friday. Okay, there's something big brewing right now. Okay, at this point, Michael Saylor is fighting for his life, but you know what? He deserves everything he gets. He rang the bell at the last .com fiasco, and I think he's ringing the bell for this cycle of the markets. There's some gnashing of the teeth headed our way, folks. Bank on it. Just wanted to finish off with Fear and Greed Index. This is about 2 weeks ago. Okay, here's us right now, 14. All right, that's maximum fear. It's probably going to be, when they update this sometime today, it might be over at 15 or 16. You buy the fear, folks. All right. And then, so here's basically what I have. I've been lamenting the fact that cryptos have not fallen. Well, they're falling now. And I think there's a chance that XRP could get retest that 111 area, maybe even go lower. That's a generational buying opportunity, okay? So don't be like these guys, right? Okay? Don't wait. Okay, not financial advice. You do what you want, but you can buy it at 1,000. I'll be selling it to you at that price. But this is where you should be buying it when no one wants it. Everyone's scared. They want you. The big boys want you out of it so they could get this for the cheap. They know what's coming. Okay? Buy the fear, be prosperous, and don't be the sheep. Okay? They are trying to make you sell your physical gold, silver, cryptos for cheap. They are having you hold the market up at the all-time highs as they're laughing at you and selling it and buying up your cheap gold, silver, and cryptos. Okay? Something big is still brewing. Iran, Israel attack, and United States getting involved is just tip of the iceberg. I just feel like a false flag event coming. And we do have that Gerald R. Ford, I think, that's out there, right? That's the biggest. Maybe I got the name mixed up, but there's one supercarrier that is the crown jewel of United States Navy. What happens if that sinks? Would that not be the basis for which the war escalates and then starts bringing people in on either side of the aisle? Okay, all of a sudden, European Union loves Trump because he is propagating war. But be not deceived. There will be wars and rumors of wars, but it is not that time. Okay, Jesus is not coming back. For those of you that are saying that right now, I don't believe. Okay. Otherwise, I got to get my sins all in order, but you should too. But understand that there is a big shift in money system coming, and there is a generational wealth opportunity at this point. Okay. In this coming week, World War III fears, and then everything lifts off cryptos and gold. I think this is the last chance for folks. Okay. And of course, the stock market crash that I've been saying, or the correction, we're in that time cycle since February 14th. Okay. Let's see what happens on Sunday night, and let's pray for peace. But this is what bankers do. We just got to play their game, okay? Silver has begun to break out again, and COMEX and LBMA has lost credibility, and that's the truth, okay? So here's the situation. Black Swan is war and fears of war, bullish. It's very bullish for gold and silver and cryptos. May not seem like it right now. Jane Street expose. Are you not entertained? Okay, they're bringing out another boogeyman to blame the financial crisis that is about to come and just whack everybody. Okay, as the retail is ultra bullish, this is what they're doing. China and U.S. Okay, the thin red line is Iran. What will happen next? What will China do? And I think a lot of the events that unfolds next week and the market volatility is going to depend on what China does. And if this tit for tat exchange continues to go up. Now, like I said, for whatever reason, we have a super carrier that is the largest carrier, a floating battle station. Gerald R. Ford, I think I think that is this carrier. If something should happen there, that is the Gulf of Tonkin event that got us involved in the Vietnam War and escalation. Okay, the USS Indianapolis. History lesson, folks. There's distractions galore, but you need to stay focused. Okay, and don't get shaken out. So here's what we're watching next week. New money system is being implemented. That's what's happening. That's why all this fear and fears of wars and all this other stuff. The rest are distractions. Wars and fears of wars. Be not distracted. Read your Bible, folks. Silver is becoming unobtainium. Okay. For those of you that are saying gold and silver is basically being sold to buy Bitcoin, you are out of your mind. Okay. All right. Silver closed above 93, and I said above that it becomes parabolic, and now boom, we got this Iran attack. I told you in some ways that I felt like Trump was going to wait until the Winter Olympics was over to initiate these attacks. They knew it was coming, they just didn't know when. Okay, so cryptos are at max fear, 14. Maybe it goes even higher, but buy the fear, accumulate. Hell yeah. Volatility. Okay, those of you that have VIX, ES puts, SPY puts, I don't know, any puts at this point, even if it turns out to be a nothing burger, but this is a little bit more serious. Stock market is in cycle for a major correction. Okay, we talked about that before. So in the end, be careful out there. Let's see what happens. I pray for peace and stay safe. Okay, follow me at galaxy.market and on x.com, and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much for sharing and liking and commenting. Okay, and I could use some help on YouTube. I think I am shadow banned there because I keep talking about the stuff that I guess I'm not supposed to talk about, but I don't give a crap. Okay, and if you want to find out exactly what happens during the week, you got to join at least our Essentials community group, which is the most affordable but value packed. Please click on the link in the description or profile. And if you want to work with me, okay, you got to email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com and schedule a consultations. Otherwise, guys, we're here, but do not be deceived. Okay, this too shall pass. Hold on to your cryptos, gold and silver. Okay, and let's get some alpha. Bye-bye.